Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Business Innovators Radio. This is your host, Constant Taylor. Today, we have a very special guest on the show, and they're going to share some very exciting information with us. So, if you're looking to increase your personal and professional effectiveness, then you've come to the right place. Our special guest today is Marilyn Suttle. Marilyn has been speaking professionally for over 20 years, and the content that she primarily speaks on is customer experience and emotion management. She has spoken both nationally and internationally and is based out of the Metro Detroit area. Her latest book is called Who's Your Gladys? How to Turn Your Most Difficult Customer into Your Biggest Fan. And also look out for her book that will be coming out soon called Taming Gladys, How to Create Fierce Customer Loyalty in Just 12 Months. Marilyn, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Now, is it 12 months or 12 minutes?
12 weeks. I wish it could be 12. I wish it could be 12 minutes. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh, yeah. I just totally went to the month to the year. Okay. Well, thanks for clearing that up.
It's fine.
Show.
Thank
Now,
you for having me.
I'd like to start by asking you if you could tell the listeners a little bit about your speaking business and how you help your customers become more effective.
Well, it's really all about the success of the people I work with. You know, there's no business owner that wants things to go poorly. There's no employee that wants to have a bad day. Everybody wants to be effective. And so I help them become very effective with some of the most difficult, challenging customers they might have, and that internal sense, so that, you know, the lack of communication inside of a company could just be detrimental in so many ways. So I help create some clarity so that they could keep their emotions in check and do what needs to be done in a really effective way.
So you talked about problems that they have. What are 2 or 3 common problems that your clients have, and how do you help them solve them?
So a big problem that they have is not really listening to the customer. They think they know what the customer wants, and so they treat the customer the way they want they would want to be treated, and the customer doesn't want it that way. Also, internally, is that old command and control. When you're really stressed and you just want somebody to do what they need to do, there's such a negative side effect to that command and control because the top quality employees don't tolerate it anymore. So to be able to have the state of mind under pressure to be supportive and create that sense of team is really important.
So you mentioned emotion management. I mean, it's always one thing to say, okay, you need to control yourself, control your emotions, but actually practicing that and then implementing it. How do you help them with that?
Oh, you know, it's amazing what happens when we really look at a situation. In any particular problem area inside of a company, there's the facts, you know, the indisputable facts, this is what happened, and then there's the story we tell ourselves about the facts. We make assumptions. We assume somebody's being unprofessional or being arrogant, and we assume because of their behavior that they're, you know, they don't like you or that they're not listening. And if you don't check those assumptions, it can kill those internal relationships. So I have people look at their assumptions and the feelings that come from those assumptions, and then really look at, okay, we don't make our decisions based on facts. We make them on our feelings and emotions. And because that is true, your customers are that way too. It's that emotional component that makes them choose you, that makes you the provider of choice. It's that emotional component. People don't leave companies, they leave bosses. And so being able to manage that is critical.
But on top of that, what adds to the complexity, Marilyn, is the fact that each person in the office comes from a different upbringing, a different background, and there's a diverse set of norms and values going on there. So you can have 5 people look at the exact same thing and have 5 different interpretations just because of their diverse background.
Oh, and you're not kidding. And in today's world, we've got a global environment.
Mm.
You know, I work in global companies. And if you don't understand the culture of certain companies, you can create havoc because especially here in the Western society, we think everybody works the way we do, and they don't. So tapping into that, and also to the people's individual social styles. There's 4 basic social styles. And we could be really upset by the person who is very direct and just comes in, tells you what they want, and, you know, moves forward without thinking. And if your style is, wait, we got to look at every detail, you're moving too fast, that could be friction. Where if you just understood these people have different types, and being aware of it, awareness creates understanding. So sometimes you just have to back up, take some time up front. And when you're busy, that's not easy. But in the long run, it will speed you up so fast.
And then as you were saying that, you mentioned awareness, which is very key. And I've been hearing that so much lately, awareness. And it's actually helped me in my own personal life. But also the word tolerance came to me. What do you think about that?
Tolerance. You know, tolerance, that's a great word. And I think the person you need to be the most tolerant of is yourself. You know, to take a moment and say, okay, I'm aware that right now I'm feeling frustrated. And what I want to do is, you know, to really let yourself have that kind of nasty little, what I want to do is smack her across the face. We would never do that.
Right.
But just acknowledging it, and then that tolerance to say, okay, I'm stressed. I'm not, you know, in my most rational mind here. What is it I really want? I really want to get along with this person. I really want some understanding. And by having, I guess you could call that tolerance of whatever emotion shows up. And I think that's key. What if it's okay for your customer to say or think anything they say or think? Because they're going to do it anyway. So what if you just made that okay? And then you don't take it personally, and you're able to see it as information instead of insult.
Very, very good insight. Now let's shift to customer experience. What are some of the components that you deal with in that area, and how do you help your clients in that realm?
Well, you know, I've helped clients get industry awards. I've helped them raise their profits. I've helped them create really strong teams that just start humming and getting that productivity good. And it comes first on the inside. What happens on the inside of your company shows up on the outside. So really looking at what are the touch points where you interact with each other? Where are the breakdowns? If you had an irritation list, if the people inside your company had an irritation list with you, what would be on that list? And what would be your success list? What are you doing well? People sometimes forget to make that important. When you focus on what's going well, you can then emulate that, pass it along to your team, and create team support. And once you get the internal strong, the external takes, you know, a much better turn, because what happens inside shows up outside.
So in terms of the value that you bring, what would you say is your superpower or your secret sauce that you bring to the table that allows you to help make your customers more effective?
Oh, okay. I take the blinders off and have some really enlightening conversation so that people could see each other's differences. People could see the process, that it's a process. And everything, if you have a strong, repeatable process, rather than just coming in and telling everybody to just be nice, that is fluff. You know, what is nice as an action? What are the tactics? And so I help them create those tactics and awarenesses and make them repeatable and actually create a model of customer experience so that it's something you could even use as a evaluation for people in their jobs.
So based on that, what are a few misconceptions about the service or value that you provide and the results that they produce, and how do you dispel those?
Okay, so first of all, everyone thinks I'm going to come in and say the customer's always right. They're ready for it. It's almost cliche. And the truth is they're not. Customers are not always right. And they don't even want to always be right. They want to be informed. They want transparency. They are going to be much more tolerant. You talked about the word tolerant. Much more tolerant of mistakes if you have a strong relationship with them and you're willing to educate them. So they're not always right, and they don't want to be coddled to. They want a working relationship with you. So being able to have your own emotion management or composure skills so strong that you can be with their upset, with their misconceptions, with their poor perceptions, and then guide them to that understanding. That's powerful.
What is your philosophy on managing expectations and wowing the customer, which are two separate segments?
So managing expectations. Customers' perceptions matter more than the truth. I spoke with I spent a year and a half interviewing the best companies who thrive even in the most stressful times, and over again, this is what they come up with. Their perceptions matter more than the truth. For example, I worked with a builder, and when their customers would see water in the basement during the build of a home, they would freak out. Now, the truth is, it doesn't matter if there's water in the basement before it's waterproof. They don't know that. So they had to learn to manage those perceptions. What they ended up doing is to put a process. Like I always talk about, what are the tactics, what is the process? So what they ended up doing is creating a process. When somebody buys a house, right in the beginning, they tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything they might see along the process that could be alarming, so that when it happens, they have a point of reference. Now, with that point of reference, they calm down much quicker. They've managed the perceptions.
Excellent insight on that. Now, shifting to wowing the customer.
Oh, yeah. To wow the customer. Customers today have higher expectations than ever before. And they're also busy. And so if you look at the touch points, which is every point of contact, and you could just add something that they didn't expect, that unexpected delight can make a huge difference. And I'll give you an example. You have an answering machine, and as soon as they call to talk to you, they get the machine, and now they're frustrated. And now they're wondering, are you going to call me back? When are you going to call me back? Do I even matter to you? And minutes go by, half hour goes by, and they're so angry with you, and you don't even know it. So what if you simply added to your message machine, I listen to my messages frequently throughout the day, and will get back to you within an hour. Now, bam. They're like, relax. Oh, I'm going to hear from them very soon. Now I can put this out of my mind. That's delightful. It's a small thing, but it's delightful.
Very powerful.
Anytime you could do something and look at each and every touch point. What do their five senses experience in this touch point? On the phone, when they look at my website, what is their experience? If you're looking at somebody's website and you cannot find the contact information or the email address, you want to just smack somebody. It's like, move on. There's somebody else who's going to make this easier for me.
Yeah, and many websites will bury the contact information deep where you have to search for a while to find it, which is frustrating.
Very frustrating. And it makes you wonder if it's frustrating to just find out a way to talk to them, what's going to happen when I'm working with them.
When you engage, exactly.
Yeah.
So with your business, what are some of the main challenges that you have experienced with customers who are hesitant to pull the trigger and utilize your services?
This is what's really common is, I understand you're busy. You've got so many responsibilities. There's so much to focus on. You want the equipment to be strong, your products to be strong. And it can seem like customer focus is a soft skill. It's like, that can wait. Oh, people naturally know how to be nice. I don't have to worry about that part. I've got my money and resources on the things that matter. The problem is one poor customer contact can take away that business. You could have the best equipment. You could have the most remarkable products, but a poor experience will lose you, not only that customer, but everybody they talk to. So, when they say, we don't have time, another time is when there's growth. Your company is growing like crazy, and there's just no time to take people off the floor or to take them off their task for customer training. So the problem is there's no time not to. Because if you don't do that, you've got untrained people making impressions on your new and growing customer base. And customer base, they go out to Yelp, they go out to Glassdoor if they're on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
They go to your internal customers. People inside have an opinion about how they're being treated. So crucial to take the time not only for the training, but to reinforce the training after you had it. Because that's the other one is, oh my gosh, I already did this 2 years ago. We had customer training. Well, guess what? You take your eye off the ball, it goes way off track. So it's continuous.
Yeah. Now, what I'd like you to do with the last minute that we have here is to, if you could, convey one idea, concept, or thought so that if the listener does not get anything else out of our powerful discussion, this is what I want to leave them with.
Okay, great. So one of the constant messages I got from all my interviews and all my 20 years of work is this. Especially if you're a business owner, you could see mistakes as devastating. And mistakes is something that you have to really call out your people on and have them be afraid of. And what happens is they hide it and nothing gets better. So the message I want to leave is see mistakes as tuition toward their education and a form of accelerated learning. If you as a leader have the people in your company see mistakes that way, they will share their mistakes, learn from them, and you'll have less mistakes.
Very well said. Now, Marilyn, if the listeners would like to get in contact with you, learn more about your services, and possibly engage with you, what's the best way to contact your organization?
Well, I'll give you a phone number, 248-348-1023, and I'll give you a website, MarilynSuttle.com.
Great. Marilyn, thank you so much for coming on the show. That was very enlightening information that you shared with the listeners, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate what you do to help people.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.